What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for Two. I am Q1 Humphreys. Don't we love when a rivalry is renewed, y'all? Especially in the biggest time of the NBA season. We're going to see an old rivalry between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals yet again for the first time in a very long time. I mean, I think the last time these two teams met in the Eastern Conference Finals was when it was Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing. You know, when Reggie Miller doing the whole choke joint to Spike Lee in the front row. You know what I'm saying? But now today's game, it's a whole new guard. It's a new lead guard that is at the forefront of the Indiana Pacers team in Tyrese Haliburton. And instead of a big leading the way for the New York Knicks, you got small ball Jalen Brunson, small guard Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? So I'm personally really excited for this series. We know about the bad blood between these two teams. I think between these two cores specifically, it stems back to Wally Szczerbiak when he had his comments about Tyrese Haliburton, how he was a fake All-Star a couple years ago, and then Haliburton went on to make the All-Star team and then have a big performance against the New York Knicks, and then of course last season when the Pacers beat the Knicks in 7 games in the Eastern Conference semifinals. There was a spat between Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Haliburton on WWE. You know, I actually watched. I'm an avid WWE watcher, so I remember that episode of SmackDown when Haliburton and Brunson were in the Garden for WWE. All the way to now, to where the winner of this series is going to the NBA Finals, and this would be the first NBA Finals appearance for both of these franchises in a very long time. I want to say since the early 2000s. I actually don't think the Knicks made the finals since Ewing and them. I'm pretty sure, but that's just really tough. That's really tough, and I'm actually really excited to see how this series is gonna go down. It's hard to look at. It's hard to gauge the season series because the first 2 games of this series came in the first month of basketball. Both of these teams are nowhere near the same team that they are right now. The last game came in January or December, I want to say, and the New York Knicks came home with a win. Karl-Anthony Towns dropped 40 points, but there was no Miles Turner. The starting center for the Pacers was Thomas Bryant. So it's really, you can't really look at that game and say, okay, this is a precursor. The Knicks did win 2 of the 3 games. Of the season series, but those 2 teams are nowhere near going to be the teams that we're going to see tomorrow night in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals and through the rest of this series. So I want to talk about how these 2 teams look right now, how they stand right now. You got the New York Knicks, who you probably can't tell them anything. They just knocked off the defending champs. You know, they knocked the defending champs in convincing fashion. They won in 6 games, dominated Game 6. You really can't tell them anything. And then you have probably the hottest team in the NBA. The hottest team in the NBA in the Indiana Pacers, who dominated the Cavaliers and dominated the Milwaukee Bucks. So these 2 teams have a lot to be excited on. They're not limping into this series by no means. And I think it's going to be a really good series. I'm going to start with the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, to me, last season, the difference between last season and this season is that they're healthy. There was no Julius Randle. There was no Mitchell Robinson, who was big in the Boston Celtics series, had a plus 40, plus minus throughout the whole series. And, you know, OG Anunoby went down with his ultimate hamstring injury and tried to do a Aaron Gordon for Game 7. His Game 7 performance was nowhere near as good as Aaron Gordon's on the bad hammy. And you can kind of see now how they've added Karl-Anthony Towns, who's added a whole different dimension of their offense, of their game. Because now you have a actual threat at the center position. Isaiah Hartenstein was really good on the boards and on defense, but Karl-Anthony Towns on the offensive end is a whole nother weapon for Jalen Brunson to use. Not to mention Mikal Bridges, elite defensively, and he can go on a heater as we've seen in Game 2 of the last series against the Boston Celtics. OG Anunoby still there. You know, this is just Josh Hart still there doing his thing. It's just a really, really good, well put together New York Knicks team, and I really like them. I like what they got building. I don't like them. I'm a Hawks fan, so I'm not a big fan of the Knicks. But watching the game as a spectator, as a guy that has no real pull for anyone in this series, I like the New York Knicks. I think they have the team that is built that's going to pretty much make things a lot much harder on the Indiana Pacers than they've had on them so far this playoffs. And I think that would be a good reason why they may win this series. Now moving on to the Pacers. The Pacers, no, I think the Pacers are one of those teams that it don't matter how many defenders you got, it don't matter who you got, you're gonna have trouble defending them because they play with speed. It is a track meet when they're on the floor. Whether they get the ball off a defensive rebound, they're pushing. They get the ball out the net off a made shot, they're pushing. And the pacing and the spacing makes it so difficult to defend them. Miles Turner, I think he started out 4 for 4 from 3-point range in game 5 of the Cavaliers series. If he's shooting that rock like that, it's hard to guard these guys. It's hard to guard these guys. You got Andrew Nembhard, who's we talked about it with my boy 24 Hour Sports. He is an elite playoff riser. 29% from 3 in the regular season, 50% from 3 in the playoffs. That's a 21% jump in the postseason. If he's shooting 50% or even 40% from 3-point range, that's a real problem. Aaron Nesmith has had games in this playoffs where he's been really, really good. And if he can keep that up, he's really good defensively. But if he can keep hitting those 3-point shots, this is a problem. Benedict Mathurin, he got kicked out early. I want to say it was game 5 or game 4 of the last series. But he's himself. He's had 38-point games. One game that the Pacers beat the Knicks this season, he had 38 points that game. He's a problem off the bench. You got T.J. McConnell. This is just a very deep team, and I ain't saying nothing about Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam, he can get what you want. You need to play defense, he can play defense. You need him to score, he gonna score. And then, of course, you got the ringleader, the floor general, making sure everybody good, making sure everybody eating. Tyrese Haliburton, who has been crazy this playoff run. To me, I've learned a lot about Tyrese Haliburton. I learned a lot about him. I didn't know he was such a good one-on-one player. I saw him get Jared Allen out on the switch and actually absolutely dog him. If he's going to be a problem off the one-on-one, off of high ball screens, then this could be a problem for the New York Knicks as well. Tyrese, they voted him most overrated player. He's quieting all of those critics in this playoff run, and it is absolutely great to see. You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely great to see. Question mark. I think people underrate the defense of the Pacers. Their perimeter defenders, namely Nesmith and Nembhard, are really good. And not to mention T.J. McConnell coming off the bench. So I think we're going to see Jalen Brunson. He averaged 30 points in last season against this team. But you got to think about 30 points. I don't know. I don't think he shot the best. But he averaged 30 points, and I think that was a tough 30 points that he had to get. You know what I'm saying? And I think that same pressure, that same defensive intensity, that same defensive, assignment, he's gonna have to see that again in this series. Now I'm interested to see how well they try to get Haliburton in the actions, because last year we saw a lot of guard-on-guard screens trying to get Haliburton onto Jalen Brunson, and he would just kill from there. But I think it's also going to be different as well, because it's not going to be as much help, because it's different having a Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein down there where the big Miles Turner will already be down there to help, versus having a Karl-Anthony Towns who claims to be the best big man shooter of all time. If they use him like a stretch big, then this offense to me is limitless for the New York Knicks. But if I was to give my prediction for this series, I'm going to go with the New York Knicks. That's me going before I even see a game. Of course, the series will change, but for the sake of YouTube, for the sake of content creation, I'm going to give my prediction. I'm going to go Knicks, and I'm going to go Knicks in 6, Knicks in 7. I think it's going to be another really good series. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a battle. And I'm really excited to see how the Knicks fans, I think tonight is going to be in Madison Square Garden. So that's going to be crazy. Eastern Conference Finals in Madison Square Garden. I thought I'd never see the day. But here we are, 2025. We're seeing it. But, of course, we have to see how Game 1 looks. We have to see how game one looks, and that's going to really decide how the rest of the series is going to look. I loved how Tom Thibodeau has been making adjustments over the course of the playoffs, and if he can continue to do that, then the Knicks could very well find themselves in the finals. But do not sleep on Rick Carlisle. He's a really good coach as well. And the way he runs his offense, or don't forget, he had Luka and a bunch of randoms, respect to those guys. Luka and a bunch of randoms in the Western Conference Finals, you know what I'm saying? So he got Haliburton and some talent. He could definitely make something shake. But let me know in the comment section who y'all got in the Eastern Conference Finals, man. Western Conference Finals getting started up tonight. Of course, we're going to have a game one reaction to that dropping probably tomorrow, either on YouTube or on TikTok at Going For Two Queasy. Go follow the TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube, like, comment, share, do everything that I need y'all to do. Until next time, I'm Going For Two. We out of here. Yeah.